Alongside head football coach Chad Masters, John Edwards with you. And Coach, trip down to Fayetteville last week, a learning experience for all.
Yeah, it was, anytime you get to test yourself against opponents of the quality of Fayetteville, you learn a lot about yourself and learn a lot about where you need to go. And it was week one, and you always look for a big improvement from week one to week two, but it was a starting point for us. We had the Jamboree the previous week, and I gave you a little bit of taste of things. We competed really well there, and then we go down to Fayetteville where it's a real game with special teams and offense and defense and all those facets of the game and moving at a different pace. And it was an opportunity for us to see all of our guys in action and what we need to get better at and what we can do and where we need to go. So I think, on the scoreboard it might not have looked at a success, but definitely was a great opportunity for us to learn about who we are, what we are, and where we need to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is it exactly you tell a group of young men who go through a loss like that?
Mm-hmm.
And to them, that's kind of the first and foremost thing,
Mm-hmm.
but as the educator, the teacher, the coach, what is the message to them that just tell them, hey, listen, it's game one of a long season, and what do you tell them? Well,
that's the beauty of the Missouri State playoffs in a way. Really honestly, the first 9 games are all preparation for that 10th game, and that's really where it matters. So I think you frame it that way as part of a process. And whether you're winning, whether you're losing, I think it's important to look at it from a standpoint of, what are we doing to get better each and every week? And how does that then break down to the smaller parts of each and every day of the week going to the next week? So it was tough. I mean, I thought really honestly for us, the effort was extremely high. Our kids played hard from the beginning to the end. That's all. I always expect that. That's one thing as a hallmark of a program I'm going to be involved in is I'm not going to stop coaching. They don't stop playing. Whether we're up, whether we're down, whether it's tied. We're gonna do those things. But the effort was there, but we just got to get better at our execution of things, and that was to be expected. I mean, it's a transition of every year is a new team, but we have new coaching staff and a new team, and just trying to figure out how all those things work together. It's going to be a process, but I'm confident in the kids, and I'm confident we had a great week of practice this week. We've addressed some of our concerns, and they've been working really hard, so we'll see how it kind of sorts out. But you just got to frame it as part of a process. It's something to learn from. I mean, and you're going to go through life, and we talk a lot about this. You go through life in adverse situations. You fail a lot more than you win. I mean, what you may look at as a loss on one end was a great opportunity for us to see what we need to get better at as individuals, as a group, as a collective. So I mean, to walk away, I mean, yeah, it was a tough loss, but there's a great opportunity for us to learn about ourselves and to get better. And I think that's how we framed it to them. That team was better than us. I mean, in a lot of ways. But we stayed in there and we fought with them and we played and we did all the things we need to do. We just got to execute better.
Even though the game scoreboard wise
Mm-hmm.
wasn't where you had hoped it would be, the intensity level from the team was there, though.
Oh yeah, definitely, and I'd rather that be the way. Like you can fix execution errors or scheme errors, or we can adjust as coaches those things, but it's hard to get players to play with that intensity level and competitiveness right off the bat sometimes. And if you're having to struggle with that, that's a harder fight to have than to clean up some technical errors, And so I was real pleased with that they really, from the beginning to the end, and with kids, with anybody, when things aren't going your way that fast and that early, it's easy just to kind of throw in the towel and not do the things that you need to do. But they didn't, and they came out and we had to reset them a few times. We had to get their focus and like anything, but honestly, from start to finish, the level of intensity they played with was great. We just got to fix some technical things, and that's a great spot to be in right now.
Talk about preparation this week for All Health Catholic
Mm-hmm.
home opener, and
yeah.
What are you expecting this week that maybe you didn't get a chance to see from the group last week? Because you get behind, and as a coach, you try to change your scheme. You
right.
try to do things differently. Well, this didn't work this series. I'm going to try something differently. Defensively, I'm going to try something differently here. What is it going to be this week for you as you get Althoff to come for the home opener? And maybe you'll have an opportunity more to kind of move in the direction you want to move.
Right, and I think that's what I know as an offensive staff, we sat down and talked about, okay, how can we simplify this even more? How can we make sure our execution is really good? And start small and build big. And a lot of that I think we can address. And a lot of it was still some confusion on some things, and that you don't see exposed until you get into real games. It's easy when you're in practice sometimes. Things look great because no matter how good or how deep of a program you are, what you're practicing against as far as you get your top offense out there is not going to be the same level as Fayetteville's first defense. So you don't get to see that a lot of times until you get into those games. Got a little bit in the Jamboree, but even then, the competition went from Jamboree to Week 1 was drastically different. And so for us to be able to just kind of get to the basics and do what we do well and try to establish what we do well. Same thing on the defensive side. We weren't schematically bad against Fayetteville. We just had missed assignments at times. A lot of those were the mental things. And what you get a lot of times on defense in particular was when people start things aren't working how you want it, and then somebody else starts trying to help out this other person because something they got exposed in something like that, and all of a sudden the whole thing starts breaking down, and the communication starts breaking down, and that's a normal thing to see on teams. You saw it in college football this last weekend. Even great teams were struggling that Week 1. So I think it's just really simply just continue to do what we do, the basics of what we do, and get really good at those things, and then kind of add the layers as we go on. I feel strong in our game plan. I feel strong in our kids' efforts this week, and just cleaning up the things that we've been doing, and just, again, refining and getting good at the things that we do, those basic things. And I think this is a good week for that.
You had the opportunity to take the team on the road, a little bit of team building while you were on the road. I know that in following some of the images that were coming back from Fayetteville, it was a lot of bonding, which is a good thing for you as in your staff and the team as well. Mm-hmm. Now you get 2 consecutive weeks at home.
Right.
How is there a little bit of an advantage now that you got that big road trip out of the way? Had that opportunity to be with the group, go through a few experiences on the road, and then come back to have those couple of games at home and maybe have things settle down a bit?
I think so. At first you're kind of like, wow, my first game in Vianney, and I got to play in like a 2-day excursion, and it was a lot of stress with that. But the reality is, it did give us a great opportunity to just spend time together outside of families and friends and school and things. And we got to eat meals together. We got to go to mass together. We got to study, have some downtime to study together. The kids got to, we split up the rooms, we kind of didn't let friend groups just stay together. We tried to divvy up, freshmen through, sophomore, junior, senior in rooms. We did a lot of those things. So I thought we had a great opportunity for us just to get to know each other better and just have some experiences. So that was a great opportunity for us to kind of grow closer. Now we come back to home, and the difference here is a little bit, we kind of know each other a little bit better. Now we have to kind of deal with the distractions a little bit more here. Like, it was nice that you be on the road in a really weird way. We're self-contained. We're like in our own little cocoon. It has its own challenge of being away from home and being one of those, but we were allowed a little bit of time to be together. Now there is a lot of things going on. There's, whether it's school, festivities after school, the hype of a home game, all phenomenally great things as part of a community. But it presents a challenge that we got to remain a little bit more focused on the job that we have to do. This community's going to get behind the team and have a great experience tomorrow and with the game. But at the same time, like, our job is to play well in the game.
Sure.
And so that takes a little bit more focus from our kids' parts. So it's a little bit different experience, but I really enjoyed the opportunity right off the bat to spend some time alone with them, to kind of get to know each other a little bit more and to bond a little bit in some different ways that you want to get if it was a home game right off the bat. And against a really, really tough and competitive opponent.
What are you looking for tomorrow? We get Althoff Catholic here at home. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from Althoff, and what's the idea of what's going to happen tomorrow?
Well, hopefully we play well. That's the number one thing. The biggest thing for us is, I'm worried about us. Althoff is going to be a very competitive team, very physical. They have good size. These are all things that we need to test ourselves against. So they're going to present some definite challenges to us. that we're going to overcome. Different than what we had to face in week 1, but still very strong opponent here in week 2. But the biggest thing I want to see is improvement from our team from week 1 to week 2. You know, are we executing better? Are we playing, faster at that pace? You know, are we doing the things that we need to do to take care of us? You know, or our mental mistakes kind of more out of the way? And that's the biggest thing I want to see this week. You know, yes, it'd be nice to get that first home win and those kinds of things, but that's all just like an end result to a longer process. And really, we're trying to focus on what are we doing right now to make ourselves better from week 1 to week 2. And again, we've had a pretty good week of practice. I'm always going to ask for more, but the biggest thing I want to see tomorrow night is are we better? Are we better than we were week 1? And then how are we competing with Althoff? Are we able to keep that same competitiveness that we had in week 1 from start to finish against Althoff this week? Can we do that every single week? Because that's got to be the bare minimum, is our effort and our competitiveness. And then can we execute the game plan, execute the schemes cleaner than what we did a week ago? And, I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to do that. But you don't know until you get into the middle of it and see how that goes. I mean, I think Althoff has an equal say in how things turn out, so we're gonna get a chance to compete with them and see where it falls.
I'm always a believer that when you think team has size, if we have speed, we can counter that.
We'll see. We'll see.
Coach, best of luck tomorrow.
Best of luck. Thank you very much.
Chad Masters joins us. Best of luck to him and the team tomorrow night as they take on Althoff Catholic in the home opener.
Go Griffs.